Welcome into 5 Wide, presented by OwnersBox. Today's video, we're doing an all overdrafted team. We're going at each position, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and we'll hit you with a flex play as well because we got to take care of Gabe Davis. You guys know how this, well, I guess some of this show feels about Gabe Davis. How do you feel about Gabe Davis?
I'm out on Gabe Davis too. It's just Ryan that likes Gabe Davis. Ryan. He's not here to defend him.
So this isn't going to be a typical, like you probably saw the title of the video, you might think of this as guys that, you know, we think you shouldn't draft. I think in a lot of these situations, it's really up to you, but I think these players are going to be the types of guys that a lot of people want. For most of them, I don't really see why they're going ahead of certain players. And then as well, if you want to draft these guys, I think it's going to be tough. And I think you're going to have to draft them ahead of the value that they actually have. And to be honest, I don't think they're going to have a lot of returning value for your fantasy teams. But if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. We want to get there before football season. We've got, a month and a half away with training camps opening now. So comment down below. Let us let us know who you guys think are being overdrafted right now. Let's get to the first guy. We're talking Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals. His ADP right now is in the early parts of the 5th round. We talked about it. I know Cole wasn't here. We talked about it in draft strategy that the 5th round might be a spot where we look at quarterback. For me, it's not one that I'm looking at this is not a player I'm looking at when it comes to Joe Burrow. Cole, guys going around him: Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott. What do you think that that's a confusing spot for him?
Yeah, I agree, because I think he's probably better than all those QBs, sure, but in fantasy, he doesn't run. I found some stat, he had 100 rushing yards last year. He actually had less than Mac Jones, so he really does not run. He's providing no value on the ground. And Murray, Hurts, they rush for touchdowns, they rush for yards, they'll get a ton of those stats. And Dak puts up the same volume throwing and provides something on the ground. And Burrow just provides nothing on the ground for you.
Exactly.
Which is huge in fantasy.
Exactly. Burrow could throw for 1 million yards this year. That could happen. I also did see from training camp, we'll talk a lot of training camp stuff. Be sure to follow us on TikTok because we're doing a lot of training camp discussion there. But Zach Taylor was hyping up Joe Mixon because he said the offensive line is in the best place it's ever been. He's always been a guy that's been contacted well in the backfield. Now they have a solid offensive line, the most improved one probably from this season to now. They could run the ball more too. That's a very likely possibility. But I know it's the ACL everybody thinks about that took away from that now takes away from Burrow being able to really run. But I think what did it, I don't know if you remember that clip from LSU before they went to the national
Georgia one?
No, UCF. The lights turned out. I'm gonna get Hunter to throw that clip in there. It's a great clip. It kind of proves how big of a dog Joe Burrow is. He's an unbelievable guy because he took that hit, got up. They still lost. I think they lost that game, right? UCF?
Yeah, they did. That was the undefeated season.
Yes, but he did play really well. So let's go to running back now from QB. Javonte Williams. He's right now, his ADP is at the 212. ADP is 24. So at the end of the 2nd round right now, fairly early for a guy who, of course, we talked about him on the show, has lots of volume. Right now he's going ahead of guys that are very proven at the position. Last year in Leonard Fournette and James Conner, 2 RB1s, and then Ezekiel Elliott, who's been a very consistent fantasy producer. There's not, a outlook on Zeke that is, league winning maybe, but he's been very consistent. We obviously haven't seen that from Javonte, but Cole, get into maybe why, people are obviously excited about him this year.
Yeah, well, before Melvin Gordon signed, everyone was hyping Javonte up as the running back 1, a top 10 running back. But right after Melvin Gordon was signed, he lost a ton of value in my eyes for that. And he definitely went down, his ADP dropped, but not as much as I think it should have.
Yeah.
Last season, he was not the running back 12. Or the running back 5 or wherever he's getting drafted.
Yeah, he's going. I think he's 13. I think he's the running back 13 right now.
Yeah, he did not finish as that. And with Melvin Gordon back, I just don't think he'll have the volume of the other running backs going around him. Fournette's a running back 1, Zeke's a running back 1, Connor's running back 1, all by far.
Yeah. We've talked about Javonte in a previous video, and I actually was the one that talked about him as like a guy to avoid. I like him. He's very talented. That's why people are excited about him. They seen the production he put together last year, and he had really good volume. The Broncos ran the ball a ton, but at the same time, with Russell Wilson coming in, they're going to run the ball less, undoubtedly. With Nathaniel Hackett, I do think that they're going to be throwing the ball a little bit more in the red zone too. So I think Javonte is kind of going at a spot that it's going to be tough for him to surpass that ADP and those expectations. So that's why we have him there. definitely, up to you. If you're really excited about him, you can certainly take him, but I think you're going to have to be reaching significantly to do it. He's going to be a player a lot of your casual fantasy football fans are going to be trying to get as well.
Can I say one thing about Joe Burrow before we move on? I've just found this. Joe Burrow last season had the most fantasy points over expected of any QB too.
Oh, okay.
So
regression season.
Yeah, regression's coming.
Wide receiver, Marquis Brown. We discussed this for a little bit. I kind of like this as a guy that's going to be a bit overdrafted. Cole said it to me was really the DeAndre Hopkins situation, and that Hopkins will be out for 6 games. Brown has a great chance to get started in this offense, but training camp, he's not practicing. Hamstring injury. If I'm dealing with a hamstring injury early in training camp and this leaks into the season, that's a problem. But right now he's going in the 5th round. Guys going behind him, Chris Godwin, Brandon Cooks, Michael Thomas, Adam Thielen. These are guys that are very proven fantasy assets. Brown had a great year last year compared to his ADP. But again, I think he might be in tough to meet expectations this year.
Yeah, he shot up draft boards after he got traded, and DeAndre Hopkins is going to miss the first 6 games. Yeah. But looking at these other guys, Godwin and Michael Thomas, who some people expect they could miss a few games at the start of the season. Marquis Brown, he's getting drafted for the start of the season. He's getting drafted for what he could do before Hopkins is there.
Yeah.
And I think once Hopkins gets there, his fantasy value is going to go down. So I'd rather take a guy like Godwin or Michael Thomas, who will have better fantasy value by the end of the season, rather than in the first 6 weeks. I'm trying to win the league. I'm not trying to win the regular season.
In the regular season, yeah, you're here for championships.
Exactly.
I like it. But yeah, I feel the same. I think Brown can still be a valuable piece because we saw what Christian Kirk did last year in the Cardinals offense. But again, like you said, this is a player that might not be as good for you in the most important parts of the season. And you do have to draft him relatively early. Chris Godwin apparently is not even going to be on the PUP list. So Godwin might be playing football right away. 1. So let's go to tight end, Dallas Goedert. I kind of was like standing on the hill with Cole here, and I wanted Goedert to be here because I'm kind of shocked in terms of his ADP, why it hasn't been really significantly hurt by the A.J. Brown addition. He's going in the 7th round, and I just don't know why. Maybe you could tell me, Cole, why he would go ahead of guys like Zach Ertz and Dawson Knox.
Yeah, I don't really get it either. His ADP hasn't dropped since A.J. Brown went there. He'll be the 3rd receiving option for a team that doesn't throw the ball all that much. Yeah. They ran the most in the entire league, and he's at best their 3rd receiving option behind 2 guys who will see 130-plus targets. And Zach Ertz, he will be, as we were talking about Marquis Brown, Zach Ertz will probably be the 2nd receiving option before DeAndre Hopkins is back, and he'll still even be the 3rd in an offense that throws the ball way more efficiently and better. So I don't know. And Dawson Knox, too. Way better offense, better QB, throws more. I don't know how they're going behind Goedert.
Yeah, exactly. And there's the part of it where Goedert, to me, is the least explosive of the 3 between Smith and Brown. And then he's got to score. He's going to have to score in the red zone if he really wants to meet that ADP. And Jalen Hurts can steal a lot of touchdowns in the red zone with his legs. So I think Goedert's a guy that's being overdrafted. I don't think a lot of people are like super excited, but I still don't know why his ADP isn't more adjusted to what it is. So that's why I think he's overdrafted. Last one. Gabe Davis. We were looking at Sleeper, and he's like the wide receiver 36. You go to some other sites, he could be the wide receiver 26. So he's a bit all over the map right now. But again, a guy going in right now, even on Sleeper in the 7th round, that is early for a player that's really unproven at the position in an offense where, of course, we're excited about Josh Allen. But the guys going behind him, Rashad Bateman, Traylon Burks, Elijah Moore. Other young wide receivers, younger than Gabe Davis, that have the chance to be, maybe Rashad Bateman would still be the number 2 option, but at least the number 1. All these guys have the chance to be the number 1 wide receiver in their offenses, and a good opportunity to do that too. So, Gabe Davis is a guy again, he's going to be overdrafted purely on the very simple mindset, which I don't think is a terrible mindset of this is a really explosive offense, great quarterback that can score a lot of points. And Gabe Davis could be the beneficiary being the guy out wide. But the slot has proven to be the valuable point of the Bills' offense. So I would be more inclined to go look at an Isaiah McKenzie or Khalil Shakur. It looks like has looked really good so far in the first few days of training camp. I'm not saying he's not going to be a guy I'm drafting. He's a guy I'll look in the wire for, but I'd rather go to the slot than look at Gabe Davis. So that's kind of pretty much everything I've got on him.
Yeah, this is a classic example of recency bias. Everyone, obviously his playoff game, he did go insane against the Chiefs. That was one of the best playoff games I've seen from a wide receiver.
Yeah.
But everyone's taking that way too far. Everyone's thinking that. I mean, no one's going to think he's going to take targets and stuff from Diggs, but
Yeah.
they think he'll be the wide receiver 2 by far, which just won't happen. It'll be the slot will be involved a ton. Even last season, the Bills didn't really have a clear wide receiver 2. There was Beasley, Sanders, and then eventually it was Gabe Davis. So I don't think he'll be the wide receiver 2 in that offense by far. And the guys going around him will all have the potential to be the wide receiver 1 in their offense, which will never happen for Gabe Davis.
100%. Yeah, completely agree. We had Ryan, who's not here today, did write like some overdraft players being overdrafted right now. So I'll drop that down below in the description. You can check out some of the guys he's thinking about. We didn't really describe how we were going to talk about these guys today. I think we took a little bit more of a less analytical, a little bit more just a feel type approach of where we think things are going to be looking like in terms of once you get to the end of the month here and you're starting to actually draft teams as opposed to just, you know, your mock draft. So if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure again to subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it. Join our Discord as well. We're running mocks, talking fantasy football in there, keeping you up to date with all this training camp news as well. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time.